My best friend once borrowed $8,000 from me and vanished without a trace. 3 years later, he showed up at my wedding in a car worth over $100,000. What I found inside his envelope nearly stopped my heart. My phone lit up at 12:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I made the biggest mistake of my life. I answered it. "Ethan?" The voice was shaking. Desperate. "It's Marcus. I need help." I wouldn't ask if I had literally any other option. Marcus Chen, my best friend since sophomore year at UCLA. The guy who'd held my hair back when I'd had alcohol poisoning at 21, who'd helped me move 4 times because I kept dating women with expensive taste and cheap apartments, who'd been the best man at my almost wedding before Jessica left me at the altar. We'd been through everything together. "What's wrong?" I asked, sitting up in bed. "My dad's dying. Heart condition. They're saying maybe 3 weeks. And last month's storm destroyed their house in Houston. Everything's gone. Medical bills are piling up. I need money, Ethan. I need it now or..." His voice cracked. "I don't know what else to do." My chest tightened. "How much?" $8,000. "I know it's a lot. I swear I'll pay you back. Every cent. With interest. I can't let my dad die in a fucking VA hospital bed while the insurance company argues about coverage." I thought about my savings. The $11,000 I'd built up over 3 years working as a bookkeeper for a mid-size accounting firm in San Diego. The money I'd been saving for, what? A better apartment? A car that didn't sound like it was dying every time I hit 40 miles per hour? "I'll send it tomorrow," I said. "Ethan," he was crying now. "I don't deserve you. Thank you. God, thank you. Just take care of your dad." The next morning, I went to my bank, transferred $8,000 to the account Marcus gave me. Then I did something stupid. I borrowed $3,000 more from 2 co-workers, Jessica Rodriguez and Tom Brennan, who'd known Marcus when he'd visited me in San Diego. They'd met him at my 30th birthday party, liked him, trusted my judgment. I sent Marcus the additional $3,000. He called me sobbing. "I can't believe you did this. You just saved my dad's life. I promise. I swear on everything. I'll pay you back. Take care of your family," I said. "We'll figure out the rest later." That was the last time I heard Marcus Chen's voice. My name is Ethan Ward. I'm 33 years old. I work as a senior bookkeeper for Morrison & Associates, a accounting firm that handles mid-size corporate clients. I drive a 2008 Honda Civic with 187,000 miles that makes a concerning rattling sound. And for 3 years, I carried the secret that my best friend had scammed me out of $11,000 like it was a tumor I couldn't remove. The first sign something was wrong came 2 days after I sent the money. I texted Marcus asking about his dad. No response. I called. The number was disconnected. My stomach dropped. I tried Facebook. His profile was gone. Instagram, deleted. LinkedIn, removed. Even his email bounced back with a user not found message. I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe he'd changed numbers. Maybe he'd gone off social media to focus on his dad. Maybe the email was a technical glitch. I checked his company website, the medical equipment sales firm he'd worked for in Houston. Called the main line. "I'm sorry," the receptionist said. "We don't have anyone by that name in our system. Marcus Chen, he's been there for 3 years. I've been here 5 years, sir. We've never had a Marcus Chen." I hung up, sat in my car in the bank parking lot, and realized I'd been played. I hired a private investigator the following week. His name was Robert Delgado, former LAPD detective, 23 years on the force before retiring to do private work. He charged $200 an hour. "People don't just vanish," Robert said in his cramped office in North Park. "They leave trails, digital footprints, financial records. I'll find him." Robert worked for 6 weeks, burned through $4,800 of my remaining savings, money I'd borrowed from my credit card at 19% interest. He found nothing. No Marcus Chen matching my friend's description in Houston. No death records for his father. No property damage records from any storm. The bank account I'd sent money to, registered to a shell company in Delaware that dissolved 3 days after my transfer. "Your friend planned this," Robert said, sliding his final report across his desk. "This wasn't desperation. This was premeditated fraud. Should I go to the police? You can file a report, but for $11,000, with no physical evidence beyond wire transfers you authorized, they'll take your statement and file it. Nothing will happen. I'm sorry." I didn't file a report. I couldn't face telling Jessica and Tom Rodriguez that I'd borrowed money from them to send to a con artist. So I paid them back over 8 months, took extra freelance bookkeeping work, ate ramen like I was back in college, and pretended everything was fine. The shame was worse than the financial loss. Every time someone mentioned trust or friendship or loyalty, I felt it like a knife, because I'd been stupid enough to believe that 11 years of friendship meant something, that shared history protected you from betrayal. It didn't. Betrayal doesn't care about history. 18 months after Marcus disappeared, I met Sarah. She was an architect working on a renovation project for one of Morrison & Associates' clients. We met during a budget meeting where she was explaining cost overruns, and I was explaining why her numbers didn't match the contracts. "You're very precise," she'd said after the meeting, smiling. "I'm a bookkeeper. Precision is the job. Want to to get coffee and be precisely precise together? I'd laughed. First real laugh in months. Sarah Ellis was 31, brilliant, patient, and had this way of asking questions that made you want to answer honestly. She never pushed, never demanded explanations for the things I couldn't talk about. We dated for 8 months before I told her about Marcus. We were at her apartment in La Jolla, drinking wine on her balcony overlooking the ocean, when she asked about my college friends. Don't really keep in touch, I said automatically. Not even your best friend? The one in the photos on your Facebook from years ago? She'd been looking at my old photos. Most people don't scroll back that far, so I told her everything. The midnight call, the money, the disappearance, the investigation that went nowhere, the shame that lived in my chest like a second heartbeat. Sarah listened without interrupting. When I finished, she took my hand. That wasn't your fault, she said quietly. You were loyal. He was a thief. Those aren't the same thing. I feel like an idiot. You feel like someone who expected his friend to be as good as he was. That's not idiotic. That's hopeful. 3 months later, I proposed. We planned a simple wedding at Rancho Valencia, a restored ranch resort outside Santa Barbara. Eucalyptus trees, Spanish architecture, intimate courtyard that held exactly 60 people. Sarah's family, my mom and my sister, close friends. The kind of wedding where everyone actually wanted to be there. The morning of the ceremony, September 23rd, 78 degrees, cloudless sky. I was in the groom's suite, adjusting my tie, when I heard the sound. Not quite a commotion, more like a collective held breath. I looked out the window. A silver Tesla Model S pulled into the gravel drive. $110,000 base price, I knew, because I'd priced them once during a moment of financial optimism. The car stopped in the guest parking area, utterly out of place among the rental sedans and modest SUVs. A man stepped out, tall, mid-30s, designer suit, Tom Ford, maybe Armani, definitely not off the rack, hairstyled, posture confident, sunglasses that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He walked toward the courtyard with purpose. My heart stopped. I knew that walk. The slight asymmetry from an old soccer injury, the way his right shoulder dipped slightly with each step. Marcus. 3 years collapsed into a single moment of vertigo. I moved, without thinking, down the stairs, through the lobby, into the courtyard where guests were taking their seats. Marcus saw me, stopped walking. We stared at each other across 20 feet of perfect California sunshine. He looked different, older, harder, but those were the same eyes that had cried on the phone 3 years ago while asking me to save his dying father. The eyes that had lied. Ethan, he said quietly. His voice was steadier than I remembered, less desperate. Congratulations on your wedding. Around us, guests had gone silent. Everyone was watching. Sarah's mother, Patricia Ellis, 63, retired federal prosecutor, looked like she was about to call security. Marcus walked toward me slowly, hands visible, non-threatening, like he was approaching a wild animal. He stopped 3 feet away, reached into his jacket. My sister Emma, who'd been my maid of honor and who'd held me while I cried about the money, moved to intercept. Marcus pulled out an envelope. Heavy paper, expensive, not threatening. He held it out. Before you tell me to leave, and you have every right, please read this. My hands shook as I took it. Sarah appeared at my side. She looked at Marcus, then at me, then back at Marcus with an expression I'd only seen once before, when a contractor had tried to submit fraudulent invoices. Is this him? She asked quietly. Yes. Should I have him removed? I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten. Same terrible handwriting I remembered from shared grocery lists and late-night study sessions in college. Ethan, I know you have every reason to hate me. I know showing up at your wedding is insane, but I needed to do this face to face. Before you decide anything, please read everything. My throat tightened. 3 years ago, everything I told you was true, and a lie. My dad was sick, really sick, but that wasn't the whole story. I kept reading. The company I worked for wasn't selling medical equipment. They were running an insurance fraud operation, billing Medicare for equipment that didn't exist. When I figured it out and told my supervisor I wouldn't participate, they threatened me, said they'd frame me for the fraud. I had documents, emails. I was terrified. My hands trembled. I took your money and disappeared because I thought it was the only way to survive. I couldn't tell you the truth without putting you in danger. I couldn't go to the police because I had no proof they hadn't already corrupted the local FBI field office, so I ran. Marcus stood watching me read. His face was unreadable. I started over in Phoenix, worked construction, then got a job at a tech startup doing sales, worked every hour I could, saved everything. The company went public 2 years later. My stock options were worth $780,000. I sold most of it, invested carefully, started my own consulting business, built it for 18 months, then sold it to a larger firm last year. I'm not proud of what I did to you, but I never forgot. I couldn't. You saved my life when I had nothing to offer in return except lies. The letter continued for 3 more pages. Details about his dad's actual condition. He'd survived, was in remission. Details about Marcus's therapy for PTSD PTSD and guilt. Details about how he'd tracked me down 6 months ago and had been waiting for the right moment. I couldn't just mail you a check. That felt cowardly. I needed to look you in the eye. I needed you to have the choice to tell me to fuck off to my face. You deserve that. Inside this envelope is a cashier's check. I didn't just pay back what I owed. I paid back what your trust was worth. My vision blurred. I pulled out the check. The amount made the world tilt. $250,000. $250,000. Sarah made a sound, somewhere between a gasp and a laugh. Marcus's voice was quiet. The $11,000 you gave me, compounded at 15% annually for 3 years, plus compensation for emotional damages, plus a premium because I'm a fucking coward who took 3 years to make this right. I looked at him, really looked. He'd been crying. His eyes were red. His jaw was clenched like he was preparing to be hit. I couldn't give it back on an ordinary day, he said, voice breaking. I needed it to mean something. Your wedding day, the day you're celebrating trust and commitment and building a life with someone. That felt right. That felt like the day to return what I stole. The courtyard was dead silent. Sarah squeezed my hand. What do you want to do? I folded the letter carefully, looked at the check, looked at Marcus. Then I stepped forward and punched him in the jaw. Not hard, just enough. Marcus stumbled back, hand flying to his face, then laughed, shocked, pained, but somehow relieved. I deserved that, he said. You deserved worse, I replied, voice shaking. You let me think I was the idiot who got scammed by his best friend. You let me borrow money from co-workers and pay them back at 19% interest. You let me eat ramen for 8 months. You let me think I was too stupid to see betrayal coming. Marcus's smile faded. I know. I'm sorry doesn't cover it. Nothing covers it. You could have called, I said, even once, even just to tell me you were alive. I was afraid you'd hang up, that I'd lose my nerve, that I'd never make it right if I heard your voice. I stared at him for a long moment. Around us, guests were whispering. Emma looked like she wanted to hit him too. Patricia Ellis was taking notes, actual notes, like she was building a case. Sarah touched my arm gently. Baby, you don't have to decide anything right now, but I already had. I extended my hand to Marcus. He looked at it like it was a trick. Then slowly, he took it. You're still an asshole, I said. I know, he replied. And this doesn't mean we're friends again. I know, but I pulled him closer. Thank you for making it right. That took guts I didn't think you had. Marcus's face crumpled. He was trying not to cry and failing. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I remembered. I remembered everything you did for me. Sarah stepped forward, looked at Marcus with her architect's eye, assessing, measuring, judging. I'm Sarah, the woman Ethan is marrying in, she checked her watch, 23 minutes. You almost gave my future husband a heart attack. I'm sorry. You should have done this 3 years ago, Sarah interrupted. But you did it now. And that check? She glanced at it in my hand. That changes our lives. That's our house down payment. That's financial security. That's breathing room. Marcus nodded. Good. That's what I wanted. Emma approached. My sister, 35, works as a physical therapist, has no patience for bullshit, stopped right in front of Marcus. I held my brother while he cried about you, she said flatly. I watched him work 3 jobs to pay back money he'd borrowed to help you. I wanted to murder you. I understand. But you came back. You made it right. That's more than most people do. She paused. You're still uninvited to the wedding. Marcus actually laughed. That's fair. Sarah's father, William Ellis, 65, retired orthopedic surgeon, approached with Patricia. They'd been watching the whole exchange with the intensity of parents protecting their daughter. Young man, William said to Marcus, that's quite a grand gesture. It's what he deserved, Marcus replied. It's impressive, Patricia added, but I have questions. That check, is it legitimate? Are there any liens against it? Any conditions? Leave it to a federal prosecutor to immediately start investigating. Marcus pulled out his phone. My attorney, Jennifer Huang, 15 years corporate law, prepared everything. The check is clean. No strings, no conditions. If you want verification, her card is in the envelope with instructions for authenticating the funds. Patricia took the envelope, examined everything with professional skepticism. After 2 minutes, she nodded. It's legitimate. William looked at me. Ethan, what do you want to do? That was the question. I looked at Marcus, really looked at him, at the guilt written across his face, at the expensive suit that somehow made him look smaller, at the Tesla in the parking lot that represented the life he'd built from the ashes of his lies. I want you to stay, I said. Everyone's heads snapped toward me. What? Emma said. I want him to stay for the ceremony, not the reception. That's for people who actually deserve to celebrate with us. But the ceremony. I want him to see what trust looks like, what commitment looks like, what it means to show up for someone. Marcus's face went through several emotions: shock, gratitude, shame, hope. Are you sure? Sarah asked quietly. No, I admitted, but I think it's right. He came here to face me. The least I can do is let him see what he almost destroyed. Sarah kissed my cheek. Then he stays. Patricia looked at Marcus. You sit in the back. You don't speak. You don't approach anyone. You watch. Then you leave. Understood? Yes, ma'am. And if you ever hurt my son-in-law again, William added pleasantly, I know 17 different ways to cause pain that won't show up on an X-ray. Marcus smiled. I believe you. The ceremony started 14 minutes later. I stood at the altar, Sarah beside me, while our officiant, Reverend Thomas Mora, 32 years performing weddings, led us through vows. In the back row, Marcus sat alone, watching, crying quietly. When we exchanged rings, I saw him mouth something. Maybe, "I'm sorry," maybe "thank you," maybe both. The ceremony lasted 19 minutes. When Sarah and I kissed, guests erupted in applause. I turned toward the back. Marcus was gone. In his seat was another envelope. After the reception, after the first dance and the toasts and the cake, I opened it. Inside was a single card. "Ethan, watching you get married was the hardest and best thing I've done in 3 years. You looked happy, really happy. That's what I stole from you and myself, the ability to be happy without guilt. I don't expect us to be friends again, but if you ever need anything, my number is below, not as your friend. As someone who owes you a debt that money can't fully repay, thank you for giving me the chance to make this right. Thank you for being the kind of man who believed in loyalty even when it cost you everything. Marcus." At the bottom was a phone number, a new one. Sarah read the card over my shoulder. "Are you going to call him?" "I don't know. Maybe. Eventually. Not now." "What changed?" she asked. "Why did you let him stay?" I thought about it. About the 3 years of shame and anger and betrayal. About the moment I'd seen Marcus step out of that Tesla. About the check in my jacket pocket that would change our lives. "Because he could have just mailed the check," I said finally. "He could have sent it anonymously and stayed hidden. But he showed up, face to face, knowing I might punch him, knowing I might tell him to fuck off, knowing I might call the police. And that took more courage than stealing from me. It's easier to disappear. It's harder to come back and face what you did." Sarah kissed me. "You're a better person than I am. You told your dad to threaten him with untraceable pain. Because I love you. But you forgave him. That's different." "I didn't forgive him," I corrected. "I just acknowledged that he tried to make it right. Those aren't the same thing." We deposited the check the following Monday. It cleared. No issues, no liens, clean. We bought a house in Encinitas 3 months later. 3 bedrooms, ocean view, mortgage payment we could actually afford thanks to the massive down payment. I never called Marcus, but I didn't block the number either. 2 years after the wedding, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Ethan? It's Marcus. I know it's been 2 years, I finished. "What do you want?" "Nothing. I don't want anything. I wanted you to know my dad died yesterday. Heart failure. Peaceful. He was 73. I was with him. I'm sorry. Thanks. Listen, I know we're not friends anymore, but he asked about you at the end. Wanted to know if I'd made things right. I told him about the wedding, about the check. He said," Marcus's voice cracked. "He said that's what men do. They fix what they break, even if it costs them everything." Silence. "He was right," I said quietly. "Yeah, I think so too." Marcus paused. "I'm not asking to be friends again. I just wanted you to know that what you did for me, lending me that money when you had every reason not to, it changed my life. Not because of the amount, because someone believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I needed you to know that." "I know. Okay, that's all. Take care, Ethan." "Marcus? Yeah? I'm sorry about your dad. He sounds like he was a good man." "He was. Better than me, but I'm trying." He hung up. Sarah found me in our backyard 20 minutes later, staring at the ocean. "That was him?" she asked. "His dad died." She sat beside me. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I think so." I looked at her. He didn't ask for anything, didn't want to reconnect, just wanted me to know his dad was gone and that what I did mattered. Did it help? Hearing that, I thought about it. About the 3 years of silence, about the wedding day revelation, about the check that had changed our lives, about the phone call that hadn't asked for forgiveness but had offered gratitude. "Yeah," I said finally. "It helped because I realized something." "What?" "He didn't just pay back the money, he paid back the trust, the belief that people can be better than their worst moments, the idea that redemption is possible if you're willing to face what you've done." Sarah leaned her head on my shoulder. "That's a lot of philosophy for a Wednesday evening." I laughed. "I'm a bookkeeper. We're secretly very deep. Is that right?" "Absolutely. We think about balance sheets and moral balance simultaneously." She kissed me. "You're ridiculous." "Yeah, but you married me anyway. Best decision I ever made." 5 years after the wedding, I got a package. No return address. Postmark from Seattle. Inside was a photo. Marcus standing in front of a house. Modest, nice, suburban. A woman beside him, pregnant, smiling. On the back, in that terrible handwriting, "Her name is Claire. She knows everything. Baby's due in March. His name will be Ethan, if that's okay with you." I showed Sarah. She cried. "He's naming his son after you, apparently. Are you okay with that?" Was I? I thought about the 11 years of friendship, the 3 years of betrayal, the 5 years of complicated, distant peace. "Yeah," I said. "I'm okay with it, because maybe little Ethan will grow up hearing the story about the man who believed in loyalty even when it cost him everything, and maybe that kid will be the kind of person who keeps his promises." Sarah kissed my forehead. "You're a good man," Ethan warned. "I'm a man who got lucky," I corrected. "Lucky that my worst betrayal came with interest. Lucky that someone cared enough to make it right. Lucky that I married someone who helped me understand the difference between forgiveness and acknowledgement." "What's the difference?" Forgiveness lets someone back into your life. Acknowledgement accepts that they tried. I acknowledged Marcus, but he's not in my life, and that's okay. Do you think he understands that? I think he named his kid after me, knowing I might never meet him. That's understanding. 10 years after the wedding, my daughter Charlotte asked me about the photo on my office wall. Who's that? She pointed at an old college photo. Me and Marcus, drunk at a party, arms around each other, young and stupid and believing we'd be friends forever. Someone I used to know, I said. What happened? I thought about how to explain it, about trust and betrayal and redemption and the complicated mathematics of human relationships. He made a mistake, I finally said. A big one, but he fixed it. Not perfectly, but genuinely. Do you still talk to him? No. Why not? Because some things can be repaired but not restored. Like a broken bone. It heals. It works. But it's not the same as never breaking. Charlotte thought about that with 7-year-old seriousness. That's sad. Yeah, I agreed. But it's also okay, because he taught me something important. What? That people can surprise you, sometimes in terrible ways, but sometimes in ways that give you back something you thought was lost forever. Like what? I pulled out my phone, showed her a photo of our house, our family, the life Sarah and I had built with money from a betrayal that became redemption. Like hope, I said. He gave me back hope that people can change. That's worth more than anything he could have stolen. Charlotte hugged me. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. That night, I finally called Marcus's number, the one from the wedding card 10 years ago. It rang 4 times. Hello? A woman's voice. Hi, is Marcus available? This is Ethan Ward. Silence. Then, oh my God. Ethan? The Ethan? Oh yes? Hold on. Marcus, you need to take this call right now. Shuffling. A door closing. Then Marcus's voice. Older, but still familiar. Ethan? Hey, is everything okay? I mean, why are you calling? Because, I said, my daughter asked me today why I have your photo on my wall, and I realized I've been holding on to anger for 10 years when what I really have is gratitude. Gratitude? You showed me what real loyalty looks like. Not the perfect kind. The kind that breaks and rebuilds itself. The kind that costs everything to repair. That's valuable, and I wanted you to know I finally understand that. Marcus was crying. I could hear it. Thank you, he whispered. That means you have no idea what that means. I think I do. How's little Ethan? He laughed through tears. He's 9, smart as hell, wants to be an accountant. God help him. I tell him about you sometimes, about the man he's named after, about what real friendship means. What does it mean? It means believing in someone even when they give you every reason not to. It means fixing what you break even if it takes a decade. It means accepting that some people are worth the pain they cause because they teach you who you want to be. I smiled. That's pretty good. I've had 10 years to think about it. Marcus? Yeah? You paid back more than money. You paid back something I didn't know I'd lost. The belief that people can be better than their worst mistake. Was it enough? I looked around my office, at the photo of Sarah and Charlotte, at the house we'd bought with his redemption check, at the life we'd built from the ashes of betrayal. Yeah, I said. It was enough. It was more than enough. We talked for an hour about our kids, our lives, our separate paths that had diverged from a single moment of betrayal and a single moment of redemption. When we hung up, Sarah found me crying. You called him, she said. I called him. And I realized something. He didn't just give me back the money. He gave me back the ability to trust people, to believe that mistakes don't have to be final. That redemption is possible if you're willing to pay the cost. Sarah held me. That's beautiful. It's true. 10 years ago, he stole my money. But today, I got back something worth more. What? My faith in friendship, in people, in the idea that even when everything breaks, some things can still be made whole. That night, I took down the old college photo from my wall, not because I was angry, because I didn't need it anymore. What Marcus and I had, friendship built on betrayal, broken by lies, rebuilt through redemption, that didn't need a photo. It needed something better, memory, gratitude, and the understanding that trust, once broken and repaired, becomes stronger than trust that never broke at all, because it costs more, and we both paid the price.